Hello there, everybody. I hope we're good here. I was hoping that I'd actually have something set up so it would show the chat, but apparently it's not going to happen. Yeah, 100 of 10. Wow. I think it's 100 of 10. I'm pretty sure it is. Should be interesting. We're finally getting things moving now, which is good. Getting 2 turns today. Okay. Everything's looking fine on my end, so should be okay. Right, yo. Oh, I've opened a window. No, I want full screen. Always making this mistake. I shall keep that open just in case. Okay. So we're looking for save 15. Now, we did have the capture of Palembang last time, which is good. We're not too far out, really, from getting to where we need to be. I can't recall if we're... I think we might be... I think we're resting an additional day today at Singapore. I think that's what we're doing. I'm trying to remember that. Wow, that stream is looking kind of crazy. It should be... Okay, now it's looking fine. Again, still not used to the actual massive delay here on Twitch. Oh well. Right, so we have here then Banged at Palembang. I like that then. We'll go ahead and we'll see what happens here. Now we do have the MKB moved in towards BLeAcHACiD to be in a position to support our invasion of Java. We're not far from launching the invasion of Java. It looks, if I recall, he's got most of his forces at Batavia. So we'll have to see what we can do with that. But I should be able to take sort of by a fairly okay. It does depend. He has had time to obviously dig in there, so we'll see. We'll see. Well, ideally we don't have any crazy results here during the night. I'm not too sure. It did look like he did have potentially carriers moving to the Coral Sea. I mean, when I say that, I'm obviously just guessing there. So obviously he captures our base, but there's no supply there, so that's okay. I was hoping we could have surrounded him, but the issues of roads there. It's a little bit annoying when they do retreat, but they get to move a lot further for free, but not well. Okay. Now we do have cap set up at Palembang, so we should be okay. Okay. Not seeing anything as of yet. I can't imagine it's too far away from the Coral Sea. It did seem as if he was heading back there with his carriers. He could be potentially heading elsewhere. We'll have to take a look at that, really. He's going to end up revealing himself at some point sooner or later, really. Whether he means to or not, due to the fact that we do have something out that way. How you doing there, Plumber? Good to have you, my friend. Just meet you, Plumber, and Parmentier. Right, so that's quite a busy night phase then. Okay. Moving to the naval movement. Straight to the airface, there's no naval interceptions here then. Right, still seeing the Allied SS there at Palembang. That's interesting actually there. Supposedly an Allied light cruiser off the coast of Java there. Ship's still at Darwin, we've been seeing them for a while. The possible light cruiser's an interesting one. Still seeing the forces down there at Port Blair. Yeah, there's definitely ships there just to the south of Oosthaven. That's interesting. Oosthaven. Whatever you want to call it. So we are striking once again at Surabaya. Okay. Oh, that's actually not too bad at all there. So achieve a few hits. So we're seeing ships over here, then. That's interesting. How you doing there, Fall? We've only just begun. How you doing there, Mike? Good to have you. We've only just begun. That's like the first real action here. We've been through the actual night phase. We've been through the naval phase. Nothing has happened as far as we can tell yet. We're just into the air AM phase. We did spot some ships to the south of Java. Sorry, the south of Sumatra. Bombing Singapore once again. Yes, I do believe we're giving our forces another day's rest here at Singapore. Getting that fatigue and disruption down before we do attack the 38th Division alongside them. Should be able to manage with that. Okay, so a couple hits there on the runway, nothing too spectacular. More bombers coming in here. Yeah, that flak is pretty ferocious. Well, we got through without anything being shot down, so that's not too bad. A few more hits. I would like to see more hits, but it's really just keeping it up there. So we do have this noise coming in over here at the time. See that plumber, unfortunate there. It seems to be a bit funny at my end as well, so we're not entirely sure what's going on there. It seems to stabilise now to a degree. Hopefully it works out. Right, there we go. A few more hits on the runway is pretty good. I keep forgetting about the Tojos. I just need to have the Tojos either just stood down, allowed to repair, try and get a few more of them really, or just have them moved elsewhere. I mean, they are decent enough really, it's just the issue is that there's not that many of them, frankly. Okay. So he's running reconnaissance of a Palambang, it seems, which is not too surprising. Okay, moving into the PM phase. Right, Detroit, that's intriguing. I wonder if he's doing that on purpose. He could be using it as like some sort of cap trap perhaps, which is interesting. I don't know why he'd have him go north there. Okay. It's a very deliberate move to have a light cruiser move towards Palambang. He already knows that we have an air haste cube there. He knows that we can move forces in there immediately. It does make me wonder if something else is afoot there. I mean, maybe he turned around with the carriers, that's always a consideration there. He could have gone potentially further out to avoid being detected, but I'm not too sure about that. So it's actually pretty quiet turn so far, but nothing much in the air phases. We didn't see much in the naval phase there. Yes, there's ships over there at Oosthaven. We're moving into the landed phase here. So we do have bombardment over here at Singapore then, which has been proven to be fairly successful. If we take a look over here, yeah, there's only the 27th Australian Brigade there. Everything else is near collapse. I think once we do attack with the 38th Division, we will be able to bring it to an end, I'd imagine. Maybe 2 attacks it would be done then. So what we'll do then is we'll speed this up. And if we can just... I mean, this is the issue, it's just like, if we could target the 27th Australian with the 38th Division, would probably be pretty good there. How you doing there, Van? Good to have you, my friend. Yeah, the end's not far away now. So we have a few guns lost there, a few vehicles destroyed there. 1, 3, obviously vehicles can include like trucks and etc. So it's nearly there. So 2,470. It's getting close. So probably, I'm going to imagine it'll take maybe like 2 attacks before we finally do take it. We're destroying another squad there, a few more disabled there, 92 casualties. Right, we do have our deliberate attack over here then. So we do have 3 divisions versus 2 of these Chinese corps. Now they are in ×3 terrain, so I don't think we'll be successful here unless we have a pretty good roll. But we'll see. The reason I'm attacking here is I've got to try and force them back. 969 instead of 93, so we are held back then. Thought that was going there. Okay. So 799, but only 1 squad destroyed there, 56 disabled. And not too bad, we inflict 615 casualties, so we only destroy 6 of them here, 69. But the good news is we are forcing them to use their supply here. And these are actually, they look to be competent divisions there, sorry, competent corps. So 1-to-1 odds there. We do have additional forces moving down there, but I've got to push them out. I've got to try and take down their personal fortifications before they can begin to build anything. It isn't showing everything. Right, okay. So capture Ketapang. That's good. So that's another base there secured. Obviously we can move on there. Okay. So actually really remarkably quiet turn then, to be honest. Oh well. Layer spends to size 4 airfield there. Sometimes it's what you don't see. But yeah, fairly quiet turn there. Ideally we do have the fatigue and the disruption to actually go ahead and attack next turn at Singapore. Try and just force them out really. That would be ideal. Okay. I'll go ahead and we'll start by saving and then take a look at the air losses and the ship losses. I don't think there's been any ship losses here today, to be honest. So pretty quiet, pretty quiet. We'll see. I do find it intriguing that he's moving a light cruiser towards Sumatra. It just seems suspect, because he knows that we have that capability there. So it just seems to be as if he's trying to test that, as if he's trying to say, right, okay, he's a cruiser. And it just feels like a trap. The ships at Oosthaven as well is interesting. They might already have been there. I don't imagine they're damaged. It just seems deliberate. So we'll go ahead and we'll start by saving then. So we'll go over here then. Okay. Oops. Oh well. I don't mind quiet turns sometimes. Especially if we're still getting what we want there. I was almost expecting to see more in the, to the south of Australia, to be honest. South of Sydney and that area there. We still might, so what we're going to go ahead and do then is take a look over here then at the aircraft losses to begin with. So a Lily loss of ops there, Key 27 there lost to ops, Jake lost to ops. We do have a Catalina actually go down to anti-air, that's interesting. So I think that might have actually been over the top of Palembang perhaps actually, because we did see something buzz that. He lost a Hudson over here to ops losses, which is actually interesting. So quite low effort here today, but if I go ahead and actually double check that once again. So sorties, 3,152, he's actually up in his sorties now, which is interesting. Still out there on top of this moment in time. So ship sunk, yeah, nothing listed here so far. Nothing that we know of. Right, so we see 4 ships over here. We had one of those actually labelled as the Detroit, which is an interesting one. We see over here apparently a tanker and a destroyer there. Right, I do wonder if they're actually the ships from over here. I mean, they are about 7 hexes away. Possibly, but that'd be quite slow. Unless they're escorting something, but they're moving east. I don't know what he thinks he might be able to achieve there. 10 fight to 7 bombers here. We see 17 bombers over here and 3 auxiliaries. Hey, Dunbar Hill. In what state did you take Palembang and BLeAcHACiD? Palembang's not too bad. We are starting to repair now. So we've got 7, I think it was about 710 oil. We had 806 refineries there, so not so bad really. Could have been significantly worse. Could have been better, but it could have been significantly worse. The bombers over here at Palembang are on naval search. The reason being, well, we need to actually get an idea what's going on in the area first and foremost. We could have attacked, but the thing is, well, they're still well within range. But we don't really know what's going on beyond here, and I want to actually have some situational awareness before we go for that, really. What I might go ahead and do is actually break that squadron up into little detachments, so like have one detachment possibly run that naval attack and have the other 2 naval detachments, sorry, the other 2 detachments run naval search, perhaps. Okay. So he's still not aware of the MKB, which is good. They're moving east, okay. So do see the forces north of Samboanga. Okay, so let's take a look at these guys over here then. That fatigue is recovering. It's going to take a few more turns before they recover to a point at which I can actually comfortably attack there. But we are getting to that point. Right. Now I do find that interesting. There's 4 ships. That's an interesting move there. Do we see anything down here? That's the important one. I'm not seeing any detection over them here. Now, you have detection over here, so you're spotted 6 out of 6. That does suggest, and we did see a Hudson actually lost to ops losses. We know that there are Hudsons in Australia, so that would make sense. It could be a Hudson. I mean, it could have been a Catalina, but I can't see a Catalina being shot down by a sub there. They still don't have enough supply. I thought they would have had enough supply by now. It looks like they have less supply, which is strange. Is that due to something being moved? Ah, right, okay, that's due to forces being moved over here to Buna. Right, okay. No, we've already had their forces here at Buna. These guys are still unloading, and they've actually unloaded additional supply into the base there. Nah, far, man, we've only just moved into Palembang. I mean, what if there'd been a carrier group over here, and we didn't know about it? You can imagine naval bombers going out there with minimal escort. We could have been absolutely slaughtered. It's always wise to actually gather information first and foremost. Yeah, just seeing them, but you need to see them to actually be able to know what you're going up against. Be aware, we've only just moved into Palembang, so the priority here isn't sinking the shipping in the area. The priority here is protecting Palembang, establishing an idea of what's going on in the area around us, because bear in mind, we had no information really beyond this. We didn't know what was in this area here. We've seen before that it's had carriers that have bypassed us and moved to the north to actually hit Singapore, haven't we? So we've got to be aware that there might be forces in the areas where we can't see. So, now that we're aware, we have a basic situational awareness. We can see that there are targets in the area. So what I'll do then is actually set things up so we can strike them. But I don't think it's worthwhile going straight in for an attack without knowing what's there, really. Detection level is everything. Being able to know where the enemy is, being able to know what the enemy is, it means so very much. We could have gone for naval attack, but things could have gone wrong. Could have had nasty things turn up. Who knows? Right, so I do have additional aviation being moved out to Bangkok, which is good. I do need the engineers to repair Bangkok. Oh, it's nearly done now, that's fine, that's fine. We're finally back over here on the garrison, which is nice. Yeah, but 4. We're not at that stage, man. We're not at that stage. You've got to bear in mind, we moved into Palembang last turn. Palembang is more important than ships right now. So obviously we look towards defending Palembang. But we didn't have any clue what was in this area. You've got to know what's in the area. One day. It is worth it. I mean, what I can do now is actually take a look at actually setting up for naval strikes. But man, you can't just say when a US invasion force is right next to Japan. But the thing is, you wouldn't know when a invasion force was right next to Japan unless you actually do naval search. I mean, yes, you can do naval search and attack, but I'd like to have information beforehand. We've only been there a single day, so don't worry about it. Let's take a look at their fatigue, actually. Fatigue's fine enough. Could do with being a little bit lower, but it's alright, we can manage that. So what I can do then is I can actually take this unit here. Ah, there we go. So I've got elements of, over here, Makassar. Okay. Well, let's see if we can get a second naval group there, potentially. Or we could just go to naval attack, perhaps. Any idea what he has in Sri Lanka or the Indian Ocean? Not right now. I mean, this is it. In this game, we don't have that much on the wave situational awareness out to that area there. We do see that he has forces over here. We do see tankers and a cruiser mine layer over here. So he's laying mines on a Rangoon. Okay, fair enough. That's fine. He's really upping the amount of actual fighters he has over here. So 131 fighters, 26 auxiliaries. He's really, really concerned with Rangoon and protection from air. That's fine. Okay, that's fairly weak there. See, what we need to do then is we need to consolidate our forces over here. I could do with having Japanese forces able to move over here. He does have a whole hell of a lot of fighters there, but I can have our forces potentially landed over here at one of these bases navally, and then they can march up over here. It is major roads. That might be something we could consider doing there to actually get Japanese divisions up there pretty quickly. I mean, that is about 9 hexes out, which should be outside the range of most of his aircraft there, Rangoon. Yeah, Rangoon can be flanked as well. I mean, the thing is with Rangoon, he's got a lot of fighters there, but in all honesty, even though he significantly outnumbers what we might be able to bring into play against Rangoon, that still works our advantage to a degree, because what we can do here is actually look to treat, well, is it a treat? His forces? Using zeros, flying obviously high, flying the sweeps, and just try and take the zeros out. Sorry, try and take out the fighters there with the zeros. In some ways, his aircraft are worth more, because he's going to find it hard to replace them. So what we'd be doing then to tackle a Rangoon sort of situation here then is, it depends really, because maybe he doesn't have cap flying at night. But what we can do here is divide his cap. So what we'd end up doing then is flying bombers at night with escorts, of course. Hitting the airfield at night, forcing him to have to split his cap between night and day. And then what we can do is we can try and vary up, really. If you catch a Bagoo, you can go for Prome, and then the bases. Yeah, that would be what I'd want to do there. Oh yeah, but this is it. I mean, this isn't the perfect game. We can still take, we can still take Rangoon. Still doable. And also we can have a few different ways to go about it. But this is it. This game isn't as good as the other one, and even the other one could be better. But this is it, really. What can we do? Okay. But we do have ways to beat Rangoon. Definitely do have ways to beat Rangoon. Right, so we did have these forces over here launch their deliberate attack. It wasn't too far from winning. We didn't come out with bad casualties. We actually do have pretty good fatigue and disruption there. Barely any, in all honesty. I do have another army over here then. Another corps there. We do have additional forces on the way behind, so we do have another division. So I think it would be wise to actually launch another attack to try and drive them out. I'm hoping that their supply is going to be low. We have enough supply for an attack. Perhaps he doesn't. I do appreciate the chances where we do get to fight on nearly even terms, because even though he's got the terrain on his side, he doesn't have supply on his side all the time. And he's still got, it's 28 units there, there's 42 units there. So there's a lot of supply being soaked up over here. Rangoon is a trap, but it may take time to get rid of and give more time to fortify further north. Yeah, perhaps so. But this is it. If we take a look over here, it's got 13 units over here. Is 1 unit there. He's weak on the interior. He may very well have units over here at Bagoo, but if I can find the allies in clear terrain, that works well enough for me. But what we'll do then is see, I need to run reconnaissance over here. I'm still going ahead, I'm going to try and get the TIE forces out here. They're on their ways. We're actually going ahead and... yeah, we are going ahead and gathering the strength... bloody hell, I can't speak. We are going ahead and actually gathering the strength out here. Which is not too bad. We do have the airbase over here at Chiang Mai, which is being built. So we have a size 2 airfield there, which is good. So that gives me something I can work with there. So I could potentially have, like, zeros based out here. Okay. Right, we do have options. Let's go ahead and take a look at the forces over here at Singapore, then. The bombardment is nice. It does help to keep his forces suppressed to some degree. To keep that disruption up there. So we see then that 18th, I believe, is this 18th Division? 18th Division has 24 fatigue there. We do have 5th that has 32. 48th and 38th looking good there. What have you landed on the Andamans? See, I would have taken... this is the problem here. Oh dear. Definitely made some mistakes in this campaign as opposed to the Dadman. And even in the Dadman campaign made mistakes. The unit over there at Port Blair is a Japanese paratrooper unit. But I must have been tired of the time. But I did have them accidentally on rest mode. So when I sent them over there thinking they were in combat mode, they were in rest mode. So he then went in and moved in the Viper Force there to Port Blair. It means I can still take Port Blair, it just means it's a little bit more difficult. But then again, it gives me an opportunity to take out the Viper Force, so he's not in a position to take us on. He doesn't have that much either, but I need to get supply and reinforcements there. We can manage that. It would have been better, obviously, had we taken it, but me obviously being tired, put them in rest mode by mistake. His forces over here in Port Blair should give soon enough. We do have our fast transport on the way down there. So it looks like they don't have enough supply for some odd reason. I wonder if it's to do with the forces over here. But we'll have that. That should be fine. We'll go over there. If I have to wait another day, that's fine. It does give me the ability to get these forces over here then. So I do want to get them to that base there. If I can take that base before we take Port Moresby, that should force these forces there to surrender wholesale, which would be a hell of a lot better than having to deal with them. It would be worth quite a big chunk of VP to us, actually, to take all those forces out. So I don't mind that little bit of a wait. It does give our forces a little bit more time to rest. It gives his time, so it gives his forces that time too. But he's not going to be building any more fortifications. He's got 95 airfield damage, 100 port damage there. So that is a pretty damn beaten up port there. So no additional fortifications. I don't know what his supply situation's like. We did bombard his supply quite heavily. I might consider bringing in a heavy cruiser, another turn there, and then potentially next turn would be in a position to attack. So 2 turns I could probably bring in a heavy cruiser bombardment there. That would be quite good there. The interesting thing is, I'm not seeing his submarines right now. We did see beforehand, and I think we saw something like, 10 of them or something ridiculous like that. It was a crazy number. I do have aviation that's going to be unloaded over here at Boona shortly. Yeah, we do have a Sanuki Maru, so that's good. I actually do have aviation support there to work with immediately. I think I'm going to continue to allow the AG to unload supply there. It's not too bad, actually. At Manus. Yeah, the submarine over here at Manus. I think it's had that submarine there for quite some time, actually. For some odd reason. Right, okay. So put you in Boona. There we go. So they can continue to unload. Wait, what do I have in here? Oh, is the AG in here? Right, the AG's in here. Right, that makes sense. What I'm going to do then is actually bring the AG in here. Ah, because it's an amphibious task force. Right, okay. That makes sense. What I'm going to do then is go ahead and actually set up... Well, actually, I don't need to, do I? Can it dock? It can handle about 6,000 tons. It might be able to handle the AG. If I have the AG actually docked up, it can unload its supply there. How big is that AG? Oh, it's a little bit too big there. That's a shame. But what I can do is actually give it an escort there, just to make sure it's fine. So we'll get that in there. I've got plenty of escorts here at Boona as well, which is nice. So we'll have you unload your supply here then. How come it's not giving me that option? Oh, because it's on escort, right. Put that on cargo. Right, there we go. So I'm going to unload the supply over here then. So that will force more supply here to Boona, which is good. Ideally we can brute force the system a little bit, try and get some more supply moving along here. Only so much is going to move, but that's still good. So they can wait another day then. We'll make sure we have the supply necessary before we launch the attack. But what I want to do then is make sure these guys actually land over here at this base. And then if I secure that base, he's got nowhere to go. They should, I think, be forced to surrender. I could potentially even take this base over here, and that might genuinely be worthwhile doing so. I mean, if I take a look over here, we do have a first independent. I've got an SLF squad there. I've got an IJ engineer squad there, but I don't think I can... I don't know if I can launch attacks with that. See, the rest of the first independent engineers need to go over here to Port Moresby. After, obviously, that's been taken, of course. I could look again a unit there. And the problem is he could retreat there. I don't think there's any other bases here besides that one. So maybe we take that base first and foremost, and then we move on. I might be able to find something out. I might be able to find something over here, actually. Yeah, okay, so we do have fuel there. Okay, and that's good. Apologies if I sound a little bit off. It's mostly because I'm trying to remember what we were doing here. It's been a few days, actually, since we were last on return. So just trying to recall everything that's going on, but it looks alright enough. So our forces have moved out of there. Oh no, they're moving in, okay. Yeah, we told them to return. The reason being we can actually go ahead and hit his submarines in the river here, which I do not mind at all. We have another sub over here then. His submarines there aren't going to do too much. I mean, that one there... That one isn't in the river hangs. So that one's probably going to do a better job. If he wants to, like, have subs over here, he should have them there. But these over here, we should be able to cause a lot of damage to them, really. I mean, maybe he's sending... Is he sending, like, cruisers over here to Palembang? Surely not. No, he'd never do that. I don't have any capability for mines over here yet. That would be something nice. So we'll have to look against some actual mine layers now. What I'll probably do is set this up as an ASW task force. And so we'll daisy chain there into Palembang, which would make sense actually. So what I could do is actually take a lot of those escorts, have them set up as ASW task forces. Have one lead, another one follow that one, so on and so forth. And then we have Fanni landed forces which move into Palembang. So what I could do then is have a lot of ASW actually move down that river there. And that would be nice. Essentially force his submarines to just, yeah, give it up really. So they're not going to have a chance of hell surviving that. So we do have these forces moving south. Okay, so I'm going to cancel loads of supplies there. That supply would transfer normally. In time, anyhow. If there's still loads of supplies, get them moving. I need the troops in place. So we do have our forces over here. We do have a 4th Division. We do have elements of the 65th Brigade, which I need to obviously reassemble. My god, I can't believe how spread out some units are here. But we'll work on that. We do have an amphibious task force over here, which is ready to load up the JNAF Koi if I need to. I'm not currently using the base at Jolo, but Jolo is such a nice base. So very handy. Right. It may be potentially worthwhile bombarding over here just to see what his actual supply status is like. But we'll see about that. It looks like another unit has potentially arrived here. It's number 10 A's, sorry, AV, apparently. So make sure it's at all. Okay. And those units have suffered way more than they should have had to. But we've learned lessons from that. Okay. So his forces are over here. I mean, really what I need is I need more units. I need 2 more units over here of decent size, then I can surround them completely. A 3rd unit then potentially to move in here. He's got a decent amount of actual assault value, but if he doesn't have any supply, it doesn't particularly matter. I could just bombard them, or potentially launch deliberate attacks with much smaller units and be able to force them to surrender there. It's rather annoying that we still have to deal with the units from Wenkau, but then this is it. They didn't... It's a difficult one. The terrain here in southern China is difficult to work with, so what I'll have to look for then is potentially another division that could be moved over here, broken up into constituent parts, and then have one of them brought over here to attack, or see what we could manage there. So we are going to go ahead and launch another deliberate attack here. I should be able to push through to there. What I'm going to do is actually change their plan in here for Kuei-Lin. I do need to get to Kuei-Lin. If I can get to Kuei-Lin, we should be okay. I've got to push past the Ties-free terrain. If I allow him to build up his forces here in the Ties-free, it's going to become quite difficult. But it's not too bad. I mean, I could consistently bombard him to force him to use supply and obviously degrade his forces very, very slowly, but still force him to use supply. And it would mean that we're using supply too, but at least there'll be something. We need to concentrate on trying to cut the Burma roads. That could be potentially done. We do need to get the reconnaissance across Burma to just really identify where his forces are. We have moved out additional reconnaissance from China, which is good, so that gives us a little bit more to work with there. So we have detection over Rangoon. I've got a section over this base. Right. Okay. What I could potentially do then is look to bring paratroopers to possibly move in and take one of these bases over here in the interior. And do you have access supply in Japan to send some Miri to repair the oil? Sorry for being annoying. Well, this is it. In this campaign, it's difficult because we don't have things exactly where we want them to be. We do have a surplus of supply. It's not going to last very long. We do have supply that can be shifted around. Let me see. I'm trying to remember here what we've got going on in this campaign. Right. Now, we'll have to see. The issue is obviously that a lot of that supply has moved elsewhere due to the amount of time that has passed. Now, I can understand your concerns, therefore. I mean, imagine being in my position where it's like, I'd love to start a new campaign. I do enjoy this one, but I would love to start a new campaign because it's one of these where you really do want to put all these changes into place. But myself and THG are happy to continue. I don't blame THG. I mean, it'd be unfair, like, obviously, if he's winning, to have to be made to restart. Yeah, we obviously don't have enough supply of Marie. I'm thinking of a Dan man. Just forgive me. You've got to think, obviously, I've got 2 games on at the same time. They're very close by. So try and remember what we have here versus in the other game. Sometimes it gets a little bit blurry, really. Sometimes they fade into one to a different degree. We can work on that one. Obviously not ideal, but what can we bloody do? Have to work with it as it goes, really. But it's not too bad. It was a very quiet turn. I was hoping that we might have had a little bit more go on, really. Right. Broom, okay. Bikini's interesting there. 179, 116. Port Augusta. Now, Port Augusta's over here. And what else did we have? Broom. Which... is it over this side? Yeah, it's over here then. So he's doing things over here then. Oh, actually, we do see something. A tanker there. A lone tanker. Well, that's nice. That'd be really quite nice to go ahead and try and take that out. It's moving west, which is interesting. Right, okay. But if we could take that position then and actually figure out roughly... if it's heading off map, we could try and figure out a rough direction there. But that's nice. At least we have an opportunity to sink a tanker there. If it's a slower tanker, we should be able to hound it until we destroy it, which is nice. So it's a good thing to be able to take out a tanker there. Okay. It's not actually that much for me to talk about this time. It's a little bit sad, actually. Also, we just need to focus on getting the supply to where we need it. The good news is, even though we have a lot of bad things in this campaign, we do have a pretty decent position in China, which I'm quite happy about. So, he hasn't moved his forces from here yet. That's fine. I'm not going to wait around there. We know roughly what he's got. He's probably got the same... amount of assault value perhaps there once again. We might have been able to take on about half of that. It looks like he had a couple cores there when he took Danyang back from us. So we've dealt a pretty terrible blow to about half of it. It's not completely destroyed, but it is somewhat diminished. But if he marches on Nanyang, that's fine. We'll march back on Nanyang with other forces in the area. But what I need to do is I need to focus on the actual real objective. This is just playing like... it's playing like a little child's game. It doesn't really matter to us. It doesn't really gain us anything... it doesn't gain him anything, but if he like ties us up and has these forces actually made to sit here doing jack all, that actually helps him, not help. It doesn't help us. We do have additional forces on the way over here. There should be... yeah, there we go. So you can see that armor is on the way. Divisions are on the way over here as well to this base. So it's not ideal that we have to start so far back. I could potentially go there. It might even be... the good news is when they're on the rails, they can actually... they can divert pretty quickly. I'd have to take a look at this and work out how long it would actually take us to march over here, because it might be potentially worthwhile to just go here via rail and potentially march there. But then at the same time, I could potentially march over here to... well, I could rail over here to Chengchao. Or actually, no, in fairness, I could go over there to Xiao Tao? Xiao Soto? However you want to pronounce that. And we could potentially march there over the major road, and then I could march up here on secondary roads. We do have the... We do have the armor, which helps us out. What I need to do is I need to get over here. I'd have to take a look and see how long that would take us to march across here. All I need to do is get on the actual road. As far as I can tell, I think we have this road. I'm not too sure if it has anything on here. So frankly, I need to get something marching down that road so we can actually take a look at it, really. We do have this unit over here. We do have a mortar battalion moving up there. So we do have our forces moving there. Right. So I've got the infantry regiment holding this base here. That's fine. It's not worth fortifying it. Right, so we do have the brigades here. Now, this army, I'm going to have moved over here to Nanyang. The reason being I want it to be in a position where it can move out quickly. It's not in range of these units over here, so it doesn't really matter where it is. It doesn't really make a difference if it's here. What I want to do then is make sure that they can get out of here soon enough, really. I mean, maybe it's worthwhile having another brigade there, just to make sure we have the supply situation opened up. But then it doesn't... Well, I don't know, actually. I need to keep enough pressure over here. How you doing there, Justice? Let's do... I don't know what that means, but welcome, I guess. It's okay. Right. China Expeditionary Army's here. China Expeditionary Army has a range of 9. So obviously SunYan's well within range. Ah, no, that's fine. I imagine if you're French, you're actually going to speak French. I mean, that would follow on. Okay. Yeah, the majority of our forces are moving out there. So things are moving. They're moving in the right direction. He has to defend these roads here. Oh no, the turn's only just begun here. This is a new turn. We didn't have a tremendous amount actually going on, unfortunately. But that's the problem here, is the fact there's all the things we're not seeing right now. We know that we have a chance to actually bag in at least one tank, which is nice. That's good. Right, yeah, okay. So the Hian Maru actually managed to make it out of Midway, which is good. We had seen submarines lingering around there for quite some time there. I mean, the result of the battle. This is the THG campaign, so I don't know if you're looking for the Admiral Dadman campaign. Okay. So the question comes down to, do we wait another day? I could potentially wait another day to give the 5th Division another day's rest. It gives another day of bombardment. We have a tiny amount of airfield damage there, which is not exactly ideal, considering we put quite a few more bombers into it. I mean, maybe it is worthwhile attacking. We do definitely outnumber him in terms of AV. It might simply be a case of we have to attack just to make sure. It's not too bad, actually. As far as it goes, the fatigue's not terrible. I mean, one division to have about 32 is not bad. I mean, 32 being the highest is not bad at all. We're probably in a decent enough state to actually attack. I mean, the 18th division I have 24. The 48th has 3, which is not bad at all. But then again, the 48th is actually pretty damn strong. Very well prepared. 38th is looking pretty good there. I could probably go for that, to be honest. We could probably go for a deliberate attack, and I think that would be worthwhile to actually launch that attack. It will not succeed, I'd imagine. I don't imagine it actually succeeding. But it would be good to reduce those fortifications. Allow the airfield damage to actually build up. And actually cause some damage. Give ourselves the time to recover, and then we can attack. I think we'll probably take this after 2 more attacks, maybe a third attack, and we should probably have it then. I think we've got to that critical point now where he's not going to be able to match us as such, in terms of just, well, he can't match us now anyway. We have a lot of artillery, we have a lot of troops, quite a lot of divisions here, a lot of divisions that really need to be elsewhere, but we have them. We do have the actual headquarters here, which are very good to actually help support us. We have decent commands there. Preparations up there. It should end. It will end soon, essentially. It will end soon. Let's see. 30th Division, obviously that's part of the division in China. Or Korea. There's some of those that... yeah, this is a problem. We do have these forces here, so they're on 18th. Now, ideally, we'll finally be able to reform the 55th Division. So I need to get the 144th back to Malaya. So that's something that you should do at the start of the campaign, because the 144th begins over here in the north at the Bonin Islands. It's actually sent out there to invade Guam, and then I had it sent down to the South Pacific. Oh no, should not have done that. Should have had the 55th Division over here some time ago. But oh well. So we have 2nd Air Division over here. The reason why I have second air division here, you start at 7. Oh, ignore anything about like schedules or something like that. Oh, I started at 7. We started a little bit before then, about 6:50. I thought I had something actually scheduled then. I forgot about that. Right, so we do have this air division over here. I already have an air division. Let's see. Well, it's not here, but rather it's here. We already had the third air division. The reason why I brought it to Malaya is it's not that it's tremendously needed. It would be helpful to actually have the additional aviation support. That one is actually quite worthwhile in a lot of ways. But what I want to have that there for is potentially as we move into Burma, and potentially have it flown over into Burma if we can, or even have it marched over into Burma if we can. And we can actually use it to actually support our operations in depth in the Bay of Bengal, perhaps. It's like, having one over here is all good in that, but I need to make sure I can maintain supremacy here, but also be able to project it out here, perhaps. But we'll have to see. There's a demand for them, really. The issue is getting them to the right positions. Again, I could even potentially have it established over here in Java, and maybe it is better to actually have it established in Java. We'll be landing over here shortly in Java, so potentially having the ability to launch torpedoes immediately from Java is not a bad thing to have, really. We could even potentially have it in there, so we can actually use it to support our aircraft, potentially have it based over here. But potentially based in here, so bio might be good when we take that. Let's take a look over here, then. So we have a total of about 580 assault bio, which is not a lot, to be honest. I could do with more than that. Yeah, the Tojos are strange. I don't know why they go last. I'm just going to have them either set to escort or just rest for the time being, to be honest. If I take a look, probably worthwhile having them rest. Sorry, no, have them on escort. At least then they actually join in there. So we're at 17,000 feet then. We'll have them just join in then. Better to have them than not really. Okay. DMS is there. Not as many as I would like, but it'll do. Right, he should crack, so we'll have a deliberate attack there next turn. That should bring his defenses down fairly considerably. It should be able to deal with his fortifications to a degree. We didn't have anything sink this turn. It's been a very, very quiet turn, to be honest. It's been very, very quiet. Okay. Port size 2 then. I may have them duck into the port over here to bail up Papa, potentially have them move out here. Oh no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We haven't had any bases taken this turn. It's been a very quiet turn in all honesty. It's been very, very quiet. Let's see then. We are running for Aleutian Island operations, aren't we? So loading over here, we do have the DD and the AMC, the AK there. Okay. We have here then, we do have the Kure 3rd SLF. The reason why you have those in the actual Tojo squadron is obviously they can do the training as well. Also, they can be sent elsewhere. It helps with their fatigue. I mean, the thing is, the Tojos are good aircraft. It's just obviously there's just not that many of them, really. That's the problem. I've struggled a little bit to find things to talk about, to be honest. Right, what do we have here then? So I do have a Naval Guard unit. So I think what I'd like to do then is, let's see, do we actually have, I could potentially even use a base force, to be honest. So let's see then, we do have a 4th base force, which is obviously free to move. The issue is wow, we are lacking on aviation support here at Bal. Yeah, that is lacking. You had the 1000 Tojo. Oh, in this game, all bets are off, really. Have to take it as it comes, to be honest. We'll also take some time before we actually get the production going again. We're kind of like a malaise, really, when it comes to like production. But it'll get kickstarted soon enough. Once we get through the next model, we might be able to steer things in a direction that we'd like. But don't give me reasons to moan. You're giving me reasons to moan here. What are you doing? Oh dear. Now, well, the good news is we had any plans for the carrier. The combined fleet is heading back to Truck. The reason is I want to conserve fuel over here. And really, I want to move into the area when we actually have firm plans there for an invasion. I don't want to move... I mean, yes, we could move in there, we could decimate airfields, we could potentially deal quite a blow to his aircraft if we got lucky. But that's not discounting the fact... Well, that's discounting the fact he could potentially move them out there. But we'll see. It does seem like his carriers will be making a show at some point in the near future. So what I might do is, in fact, have the actual carriers have themselves housed over here for truck for some time. We might potentially resize some of the squadrons in the area, which is not a bad idea there, really. But what we might do is actually have air fighters potentially pushed out to the front lines. We don't need to do that. We can go ahead and take a look over here. So, aircraft replacement pool. With pools. Active aircraft. Right. So we produced 4 zeros this turn. The production's almost to where we want it now, but it should have been at that point a few months ago. But that's okay. So we have 9 in the pool here. I mean, what we're trying to do then is actually build up our numbers. So if we take a look over here at Bangkok, the zeros are increasing. Let's see. So they're going to be gone by the 7th of April. Not ideal. Right, a few of them will be repaired shortly. Okay. We're going to be looking more to zeros. The Tojo will be unlocked in the near future. I think we do have R&D working on it right now, actually. If I recall. Yeah, we don't have as much aviation support as I need there. So what I'm going to do is actually... Okay, they're not actually on the point at which I need them. I might have them... In fact, yeah, I'm going to have them shifted over to Bangkok instead, actually. Right, verify. Right, okay. Have them move to Bangkok. Right, okay, so industry. Already. A system 3 is getting there. I mean, once we get the A system 3, what we are going to do then is we are going to have to essentially go to the A system 8. I think that's going to be the only way we can try and claw some progress back. So we'll try and do the research jump there. Research jump. We had it just outside. I think it might be marching, but we're going to get moving in there. It's in a base just to the south. But we'll have it marching there. I could potentially have it loaded via strategic, but I might as well march at this point in time. It's pretty close. I think we had it available to allow us access to torpedoes the turn before, but we're still recovering our zero strength there. Trying to build up a stockpile as well, which is nice. Right, so we do have Tojos over here. They're not too far away, really. We do have some decent progress on that one, especially. Wow, 16 is pretty good there. Darwin. I mean, this is it. He could potentially do that with long-range aircraft like B-29s, I'd imagine. But that's some way away, really. We might go for Darwin in the future, really. It's not on the agenda right now. What we need to do is also consolidate, take Java in the near future. But I need we need Singapore to fall. We did take Palembang last time, which is good. Obviously, it's far too late, but at least it's something. It looks like it's actually turning these forces back around, but actually. We will be night bombing Rangoon and etc. This is it. We've got to get the forces where we need them. Right, so they're going to be crossing here then shortly. I'm going to have them in combat mode to make sure they are not crossing in the incorrect mode there. We'll be able to move out pretty quickly after that point then. What I'm going to do here then is go to infantry. So they're moving to the north. They're crossing over there. They're crossing there. They're going to cross as well. So then there's right mode now. They're resting and they're resting. Okay. So what I might do then is actually take 2 of these naval guard units and actually have them available to take bases over here in Java as well. Okay. As long as we get an actual opening in Java, we can work with that. As far as we've seen, Semarang and other bases have been either lightly held. In 98.5, you say your night bomb. And we haven't done any night bombing as of yet. Not yet. We need to be in a position to really attack in strength. We'll wait for these zeros to recover, but we need to get more aviation support into there. There is more aviation support on its way in there, but we need more. Right, so they're moving to... How the hell you say that base? We'll get them marching as well. Actually, how long would it take to march? Oh, okay, so it'd take 2 days to move them by rail. Well, to load them on rail, so 2 days. Actually, it's probably worthwhile to move them via rail. I'll have them move via rail, shouldn't take too long. 2 days would be there, 2 days, 2 days, 2 days. So it'd take longer, really. Might as well wait the 2 days there. Though in fairness, I could potentially load them up via ship. What do I have here? I do actually have transports there, so I think we'll go via ship actually instead. At least I can actually move them in combat mode and keep them in combat mode. I don't have an escort here at the moment in time, that's the only problem, so I'm going to have to take that PB there. These guys are moving in there. Okay. Yeah, when we can get Port Blair, we'll go ahead and pick up the paratroopers again. I mean, I do really regret having them on the wrong mode, but oh well. It would have been, a bit like Beat Chief, and I just said, oh, can I just redo the turn? People make mistakes, you're going to accept it really, haven't you? So I don't know if we'll be able to pick up the entire unit there, but I could probably have some of these ships actually sent in there to help them out, if need be. Should be alright. Supplies working itself out over here in Bangkok as well. It's fine. Yep. Once Singapore's gone, that's when things really open up for us. Palembang's gone now, which is good. We're moving out here. We should be able to secure some march fairly quickly. Oh, the ones in China have been moved out elsewhere. Because we had, yeah, less said the better there. Okay. Yeah, in fairness, there's not that much to talk about now. So I think what we're going to do then is call it about here, because there's not that much that's happened this turn. It's not going to take me too long to actually get the turn done. I think what I might do is actually potentially have the MKB. I may have them head instead to Makassar, to avoid potentially the enemy submarines there. It might simply be worthwhile to actually unload the enemy, well, to unload the aircraft, potentially have the carriers move back to the Celebs, or potentially move there. AV, do you have Manchukuo? There's 10,090, well, 10,972 there at the moment. Which is more than enough, really. Okay. So yeah, we'll call it about there. So thank you for watching there, ladies and gentlemen. I apologise that there's not that much going on, really. I was hoping that we'd have a little bit more to talk about, but frankly, there's not that much to talk about. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed this. At least there's been something, I guess. We got to see some aircraft. We'll be launching an attack at Singapore tomorrow, then. We'll see how that goes. So, until next time, thank you for watching. I shall see you in the future. Goodbye for now.